No, this is this is the great American tradition of bad police, just not being capable of doing their jobs of de-escalating a situation and ending up killing an innocent person, an unarmed person. I mean, it just happens all too often. The guy who did this was apparently it was in the military, had a bad military record for behavior and conduct.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? We hire him as a cop. And
we speak French?
Nah. Yeah, no, I mean just societally, this is what this country does. Is we hire these people as cops and they go out and just it up. I mean, it's just that simple. It's like this guy was mentally unsuited to do the job that he was doing, and somehow we're okay with that. Now we have another dead person. Now we have a question. Are they actually going to convict this guy? Is he actually going to get what he deserves out of this? Or is it going to turn into some, thing 2 years from now when he gets off with some slap on the wrist?
And then she went to go put the water down, and then she gets shot.
Yeah.
They said, what, 3 times?
Multiple gunshots.
Multiple times.
Yeah, you just hear.
Yeah, and then the police says, well, I wasn't going to get shot. I wasn't going to get bottled water thrown on me or something like that, he says. Bottle scorching water.
Yeah, he should be in jail. He should be in jail right now. He should be in jail right now off of that.
No, this is this is the great American tradition of bad police, just not being capable of doing their jobs of de-escalating a situation and ending up killing an innocent person, an unarmed person. I mean, it just happens all too often. The guy who did this was apparently it was in the military, had a bad military record for behavior and conduct.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? We hire him as a cop.
We speak French?
Speak French? Nah. Yeah, no, I mean just societally, this is what this country does. Is we hire these people as cops and they go out and just fuck shit up. I mean, it's just that simple. It's like this guy was mentally unsuited to do the job that he was doing, and somehow we're okay with that. Now we have another dead person. Now we have a question. Are they actually going to convict this guy? Is he actually going to get what he deserves out of this? Or is it going to turn into some, bullshit thing 2 years from now when he gets off with some slap on the wrist? It's ridiculous. It happens far too often. And as a country, we don't give a damn enough to do anything about it.
Well, I have to push back on it a little bit. As a country, we refuse to be honest with ourselves. Because there is no other industry where you can enter into as a professional and be like, oh, I killed that person because I just didn't want to get water on my uniform today. Or I just killed that person because I thought he had a weapon. Like, no, you're supposed to be a professional at this. You are supposed, we invest too much money into you and what you do. We give you a car. We give you a fire service weapon. We give you, equipment,
but you're hiring people that are unsuited mentally to do this job.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting them into a toxic, hyper aggressive culture, and then you're expecting the result to be good. You're fooling yourself.
I don't even know what the expectations are at this point, because again, correct me if I'm wrong, this wasn't his first department. He was bouncing around, so again,
yeah,
this specific segment or this specific area of American culture or American society, there's something wrong with it. I don't know. At this point, this is not something that you can fix. At this point, if you don't just abolish the entire thing and start from scratch, you're not serious about it. And clearly, we're not a serious country when it comes to this topic. We're not a serious place when it comes to this topic.
Yeah, and to y'all point that it says he was involved. Okay. He was involved in the shooting death of a woman who called for 911 assistance. Worked at 6 different law enforcement agencies in the last 4 years. State records obtained. Okay, since August of 2020, Sean worked less than 1 year at the Auburn, Illinois Police Department, 1 year at the Logan County, Illinois Sheriff's Office, and then just over a year with the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office. Okay, he was arrested twice for Class A misdemeanor DUIs, once in 2015 and once in 2016. And then the father says these were all red flags, and yet they still made him a deputy in Sangamon County. You know what I mean?
That's the failure right there.
Yeah.
You have enough information to know that this guy's unsuited to hold the job of law enforcement officer, unsuited to have a firearm in his possession and control, and yet he's hired.
Yeah,
and
that's
hired
like,
by multiple times. Multiple
like,
agencies.
That's like typical HR stuff. Like, I'm an HR recruiter. If I see a person who has bounced around a couple jobs within a couple of years, I'm just clicking on the next resume. I'm not even calling this person to ask why.
Right.
There is no good reason why.
Yeah.
You can't do that anywhere else. Any other space where there's serious people that like actually take their job seriously. That doesn't happen. He's supposed to be under a jail, or he's supposed to be under something at this point. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. She's supposed to be alive right now. Like that's just the end. Like I don't know where you want to lead the conversation after this, but I do have kind of a stance in my own personal life as a black man.
Yeah,
just say it.
I don't. In a relationship, especially, like if you call the police, like if we're having a disagreement in our home as a couple, and you call the police, that's the end of the relationship. Like that's kind of where I'm with it now. Just talk back to the culture issue. Like if we can't, as adults, sort our own differences, and you elect to call them folks over here, like we can't be cool after that. Like there's no coming back from that. Like I see certain relationships where, it's a common occurrence. Oh, they're fighting again. Oh, the deputy's back over there. Oh, that like nah.
Yeah.
Because this case is like unreal in how she did everything she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And this is the result that came out of it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. I haven't like really thought about that or really
what was the
thought about taking that
original
stance.
Was her original call due to a domestic dispute or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
She called for help because she thought there was an intruder in her
Okay,
house.
but you just kind of on your own accord.
His
brought
person.
that
Yeah,
forward.
I
got you. Yeah. No. I mean, to address both, it's like you're coming over for a possible intruder, like, and there's one person there, and the person that called, you don't have that information relayed to you before you arrive on scene. I mean, how bad are you at what your job is supposed to be that this gets this far out of hand?
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's unforgivable.
At no point in this did it get out of hand, though, because, again, it's still just her and him. Like
it got out of hand when he shot and killed her.
Well, that's not out of hand. He took it in his hands to execute something. So now this is a murder situation. Like, this was not, they got into an argument or, things got hectic. Like, no, at no point was he in danger. At no point, I didn't watch the video, but at no point did it become like a conflict. It was just, I feel like shooting her right now. So I'm going to put 3 in her and we'll see what happens.
Right. Well, I mean, I hesitate to say that it was premeditated. I'm not going to go that far. That he, hey, today I'm going to go kill the first call I get. But when I say it got out of hand, I think that there's a pattern of behavior with law enforcement that they get into situations and they simply overreact, and they get to situations where it never needs to get there. And they turn into and sometimes it's like this where it's almost completely senseless, and you're going to use some excuse of somebody holding water as a threat. Sometimes they get into the thing where it's like they want somebody to listen to their command so badly that they just keep pushing and pushing until it gets to an absurd place. I just think that there's rather than de-escalation, there's way too high an incidence of escalation on the part of law enforcement that ends up in these tragedies. And it's not coincidental that it's black people versus white people getting killed in the majority of these situations. That's not an accident.
Yeah, the only thing that's been consistent in this country throughout history is that bad people use law enforcement and use the opportunity of getting employed in law enforcement to do horrible things to people that are weaker to them or to people that they have power over. So until that becomes a national conversation, until that's taken seriously to where a nationwide audit happens, like it's just not serious. Like it's not serious. And the fact that these videos are just on the internet, like if my loved one gets killed and I get lied to about it, like if the investigation hasn't even started yet, and yet a video of my loved one getting murdered in her home is going viral again, like that would prompt me to do some irrational things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure, for sure. Lauren is saying, I feel that you put my, she responded back to you. She says, you put my life in these strangers' hands, knowing it could be over after the slightest inconvenience to them. And then she says, premeditated is different than having such disdain for people that you use anything to be the reason you pull the trigger.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed with
yeah.
that. No, that's what I meant by just saying it's not a coincidence that this is occurring to a black woman with a white officer.
Yeah.
That's that not far below the surface disdain and racism in effect.
And I can venture out and say that all three of us sitting on this couch, we're quote unquote, we support law enforcement, or we support the rule of law, or we support a society that's governed by rules, and if you break rules, there should be consequences and things. But one thing I hate about this country is the law enforcement community be so quick to put out statements. Like, they be so quick to, oh, well, we don't like this, so we all collectively stand on this. But then when something like this happens, it's, oh, well, what's specific about this case? Like, no. Are you, as a nationwide organization, as a nationwide collective, as the biggest gang in the country, do y'all cool with this or not?
Well, and I do find that fascinating. One of the reactions that I've always wanted to see and you never see is when an officer does something horrific. And we've had so many of these videoed events that you can't defend them. But I don't ever feel that law enforcement embraces the wrongdoing and says, yes, this was horrible. It's unacceptable. This officer deserves everything they get for what they did. That's not what we stand for. I feel they have a persecution mentality going in their current culture that they're victimized themselves. And they feel that they need to protect and justify any idiotic behavior.
Murder.
And when you do that, when you defend murder that can't be defended, you lose credibility that you're never getting back. You have to be able to let somebody go when they've gone far enough and be like, that guy screwed it up. Because the reality is, this idiot and every other one before them, that makes the job of every other officer that much more difficult.
Yeah, you can never find a police union when you need them, and you can never find you can never find a police union when you need them. It's when we don't need them to speak up. They the loudest voice, and they put their finger on the scale.
They fired him, but that's not enough. I want you know how when police officers get killed, the other police officers they band together, and when they find that person,
they go overboard.
They really F that person up.
Yeah, they go overboard.
And if they don't kill, if they don't,
it's
one example.
Yeah,
it's one example of many.
Culture.
But
shout out to gang culture.
I want that to happen to the police officers who kill unarmed, innocent people. I want people to be able to band together, whether it's other police officers or whether it's people of the community, to be able to band together and get that police officer and do the same thing. Because that's what needs to be done. They feel the need that needs to be done when one of their loved ones get killed. And I feel the need for that to be done when one of our loved ones get killed. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's the difference?
You asking for too much, but the least y'all could do is put out a word. Send out a tweet. Because y'all, I know, I was shocked when I found out y'all had Twitter accounts and all these different things. Y'all have a way of communicating to us if y'all feel like it. So just give us a little, you know what I'm saying? We not with that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was whack. Something.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, own that this guy was not what you stand for.
Collectively, they've lost credibility a long time ago.
Yeah.
As a black person, again, I feel the black community, any other community that positions themselves as if they're organizers, there's some sort of unity. Again, the Asian community, the Jewish community, any other community that takes themselves seriously.
I'm not Asian though.
No, but I'm. Salute.
You kind of looked and turned at me. I'm like, no, man.
No. I just want to be very careful with what I'm saying. I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I trust you. I trust you more than I trust him.
All
so
right.
that was kind of off.
That's a good decision, though.
Any community that takes themselves seriously after they're violated, they put out a statement and then they lock arms and they be like, no, we're not with that. You guys can't really come over here. We always talk about community policing, and it's a fuzzy idea. It's like a cute idea. Oh, yeah, we're going to police our own communities. No, for real. We police ourselves. And that goes back to what I was saying. In my relationship, where I have the most that's the closest thing I have to controlling my world.
Yeah,
Like,
environment.
that's a rule that we don't do that. We solve this problem amongst ourselves. If it escalates to that point, we no longer have any type of I can't do nothing with you. Like,
No, but what you're saying applies both ways. It applies within the community, and it should apply within law enforcement.
yeah,
They need to police themselves, their behavior, their conduct. They need to have discipline. They need to hire good people, and they need to weed out those that are not up to the task before this happens.
I'm not a gang member, so I don't know how they handle things internally.
Yeah.
Salute.
Well, if they need a qualified HR professional, you can come my way. I'll make sure the right ones get hired and fired.
There you go.
All right, and get their ass whooped into oblivion. All right.